Hello there, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. It's so good to see you here. My name is Ayça. I go by ArtZebraJaws on social media, and I am a 22-year-old self-taught artist from Turkey. Today we'll be talking about gifts because, you know, it's time! By the way, you may not be celebrating Christmas. I don't. But, you know, this is just a mini guide, whether you want to buy a Christmas gift or a birthday gift or any kind of gift in general. You know, it doesn't have to be a specific time to make your loved ones happy. Before we get to the real deal, here's a brief introduction. I personally try to use as many media as I can. And I've been into art since I was like 5 years old. I started taking things a little more seriously when I was about 15. So I have some sort of knowledge, some sort of experience in this area. I used quite a lot of supplies, so I may be of help if you're looking for gift ideas. You may be looking for a gift for an experienced artist or perhaps a beginner. So I'll try to cover as many things as I can. And because I live in Turkey, I'll also talk about some local brands for my Turkish fellows. Alright, let's start with basics. I think one should get the hang of sketching or drawing first before moving on to other supplies or styles of art. There are plenty of graphite pencil sets out there. You don't have to get something too grand, but of course everything depends on your budget at the end. Staedtler Mars Lumograph pencils seems to me like a pretty good set. I haven't personally used them, but I've watched some review videos on these pencils and I can say that they blend well with a blending stump, which is something you can get as a gift as well, a blending stump, and they can be erased easily with a kneaded eraser. It's available in a 10 of 6 as well, but of course the 12 pack has more variability. Another brand that I will recommend is Lyra. I am so sorry if I'm butchering the names of these brands. I've used these pencils and they're pretty good, budget friendly. You can definitely get a set of those for a beginner artist or a student. I watched one review video for these pencils and they say that their B pencil was not that different from their H pencils. Maybe they were unlucky enough to get a bad batch, I don't know, but I've seen so many good reviews on this pencil as well, so I think it's a go. Lyra is one of the cheaper options in Turkey as well. Topping the pencil set with a sketchbook is a great idea. There are plenty of papers available, but I'll first start talking about what you can get for specifically for sketching, and then I'll move on to other types of papers such as watercolor paper, mixed media paper, etc. There's one sketchbook that I'm currently using, and that is Alex Scholler. This is the exact sketchbook that I'm using as of now. This brand is pretty popular in Turkey, but I couldn't find any listings on Amazon. If you live outside Turkey, please let me know in the comments if you've heard of this brand. So yeah, I've used different types of papers on this brand, and I think they're pretty good. This sketchbook that I'm using is 90 GSM in paperweight. It has off-white pages, which is something that I personally like. I'm just gonna show you. So, like, this is a completely white paper, and this is the off-white Alex Scholler paper. So this is specifically for sketching, but I've used all sorts of media on this one, and the paper can hold. Like, for example, this is watercolor. I mean, I haven't drenched the paper in water, but still. Some pen sketches, another watercolor, markers, back of the paper, graphite pencil. But of course, because I haven't used any fixatives, this is the other page. It is smudged a lot. If you're looking for something fancier, the Strathmore Tone Grey sketchbook might be a good choice. First of all, the paper is grey, which saves time, because the paper already provides you with some sort of value. You can just shade the dark parts and then add highlights on with a white pencil. It also makes your work look a little more realistic compared to pure white paper. You can also get Strathmore Bristol Vellum surface. The paper has tooth, which helps holding onto your media. It can also help you achieve darker colors while you're shading and toning your artwork. If the artist is using markers, Ohuhu markers are pretty popular these days. They also have a sketch pad, so you may want to check them out. They're cheaper than some other marker brands. Copics are probably the most popular brand out there, but they're expensive. If you can afford those, I don't think there's one single marker artist out there that wouldn't be happy they got Copics. It's like the one thing everyone wants but never gets. You can use Strathmore Bristol smooth surfaced paper for markers. You can also use mixed media paper for literally anything. I will get to that later on. Let's talk about acrylic paints for a while. For my Turkish fellows, if you're looking for something cheap yet does an okay job, Art Zone, Rich, and Art Deco are some of the brands you can go for. For everyone all around the world, depending on your budget of course, Talon's Amsterdam Expert Acrylic series are an option. Compared to their standard series, they have higher viscosity and better color intensity. Talon's is, I think, a very nice brand in general. You can choose between the standard series or the expert series depending on the artist's level and of course your budget. There's also Liquitex. It is a well-known brand when it comes to acrylic paints, and I haven't got the chance to use them yet, but once I run out of paint, I will definitely get myself some Liquitex paints. And another really good brand is Golden. They're heavy body acrylic paints, but they're expensive. Yet, if the artist wants high viscosity paint, if they want texture in their work, whether it be Golden or any other brand, you have to go for heavy body. The keyword is heavy body here. Oh, by the way, have you heard of Posca pens? They're pens with acrylic paint. How cool is that? When it comes to watercolor, I've used both the Talon's Van Gogh set and the Winsor & Newton Cotman set, and I think they're both very lovely. When it comes to art supplies, there's student grade and there's artist grade, and these two are on the student grade side. They're cheaper, yet I think they have pretty good pigmentation. I especially love Van Gogh's Quinacridone Rose and Winsor & Newton's Emerald color. You can always buy different pigments from different brands because, let's admit it, even the best manufacturer may just have a pigment that you don't like. So yeah, you can create your own watercolor set as well. If you have a more flexible budget, you can always go for artist grade sets. Winsor & Newton has an artist grade set. Schmenke, Holbein, and Sennelier are some of the reputable brands you can go for. Oil paints. I can say that Winsor & Newton is definitely a safe option. Like I said, it is a well-known brand. It is a very high-quality manufacturer. The price, I'd say, is average. Delaroni Georgian series is a cheaper option you can get for a student or a beginner artist. I've used a few different colors of these and they get the job done. Gamblin is a very good oil paint with great color vibrancy, which I don't have. I personally love using Talon's Van Gogh oil paints. They have a good feel and great vibrancy, I believe. They also have an artist line which is called Rembrandt, which is, of course, a little more pricey. If you want to, you can add a paint thinner or linseed oil to complete your oil painting gift set. Or perhaps a palette knife. Now, when it comes to gouache, I don't really have too much experience myself. My Turkish folks can use the Karin gouache set. This is the set. I mean, I think they're fine, but like I said, I am not an expert when it comes to gouache. I just got these because they were affordable compared to other brands. Himi Jelly Gouache set is pretty popular these days, and I actually wanted to get one for myself because, come on, it's so cute. And I watched some review videos. They say that it has a thick, sticky consistency, and it's kind of hard to move the paint across the paper. And because they come in cups rather than tubes, I'm talking about both Himi and Karin here, it'll dry faster if you don't store them properly, like I did. And unless you use a palette knife to pick the colors, your paint will get dirty. Another cheap option, student grade gouache, would be Arteza. I've heard that it's pretty decent for its price, plus they come in tubes. If you have the money and want to get something a little more professional, Holbein and Schminke Horadam are the real deal. Incredible opacity, vibrant colors, and of course another reliable brand is Winsor & Newton. Alright, we talked about paint, but what about the paper? What kind of paper should you use for all these different types of paint? Personally, I usually buy mixed media paper, and for my Turkish fellows, I bought this Atelier mixed media sketchbook, and I loved it. I finished these two and this is my third one, and once I'm done with this I probably get a fourth one, not gonna lie. I just love it so much. I just bought this because it was cheaper compared to other brands, but I ended up loving it. It is 270 GSM, which I think you should get something between 200 and 300 GSM while working with paint, while working with water. My only problem with this is that it has a pretty smooth surface, so it's kind of hard to mix the watercolors on the paper. I usually prefer a textured paper when it comes to watercolor, but other than that, I think it is absolutely amazing. I also used Alex Scholar's mixed media paper and it was pretty good as well, so you can definitely get one of those too. Let's talk about international brands for a while. I also have Canson's mixed media paper. I know I say Canson, but show you Talent sketchbook. I was a little confused there, I'm sorry for that. But both the Canson mixed media paper and the Talent's mixed media paper are very similar in my opinion. They are both 200 GSM. So whatever I'm saying about Canson applies to this Talent's mixed media paper as well. It is 200 GSM. I personally love Canson, but it does get a little wrinkly when it comes to watercolor because I personally use a lot of water. I literally drench the paper in water, so it does get a little wrinkly compared to heavier papers, of course. So I wouldn't really use this for watercolor, but I think it's affordable and a pretty good option. Dude, like I even gessoed a Canson paper and painted with oils on top. And I mean, yes, some of the oil has soaked through the paper, but you know what, I can live with that. There are papers specifically designed for acrylics and they weigh about 300 and 400 GSM. Canson and Strathmore are some of the brands you can look for. For watercolor, I use Fabriano. This is the exact one I am using. It is 300 GSM and 25% cotton. Yes, you heard that right. Cotton. Oh wow, so we have to consider the amount of cotton on paper now? Well, yes. Yes, because the more cotton contains, the better it'll handle water and it will definitely give a smoother, even finish to your artwork. It'll just work better with watercolor paint. Fabriano is an affordable option. They also have an artist grade line. This one right here is 100% cotton. But of course, as the cotton percentage rises, the price follows. There's also Canson Exile Aquarelle. It is 300 GSM and 60% cotton. And it is one of the more affordable options you can choose from. And another brand that is super popular is Arches. They are 100% cotton. They offer paper in different weights, from 185 GSM to 300 GSM. And yes, they are expensive.
They ask you how you are, you just have to...
For gouache, it really depends on how much water you use or how much water the artist uses. Lots of water, 300 GSM and above. Dry brush techniques, less than 300 GSM would do fine. But since this is a gift, you may not know the artist's particular style. So I'd go safe and buy something around 300 GSM. And also you don't have to get 100% cotton paper for gouache. Alright, we talked too much about art supplies. Here are some bonus gift ideas for artists that aren't actually art supplies. I personally love Write This Journal. I think it really pushes you out of your comfort zone and it really works the cogs in your brain, you know what I mean? Another book is 365 Days of Creativity. I don't have this one for myself. There's also a 365 Days of Drawing version of it. They all give you a prompt and you just have to figure something out according to that prompt. I also saw this art dice on Amazon and I thought it was pretty fascinating. You know, when you start to feel the art block kicking in, you just roll some dice and you just have new ideas. If the artist is working digitally or on their iPad to be exact, I found this little cute case cover on Amazon. You can get one of those for their Apple Pencils. So yeah, I literally told you everything I could think of. I really hope this was of some help to you. If you have some other great gift ideas, please let me know in the comments. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, please, to see more art content. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!